Hi, my name is Yashi Hiren Desai and today I'll be taking you to a little world tour, not on a flight, but to Hyundai Motor Company's global subsidiaries. My project was to clean, analyze and visualize the data, and together we'll see where Hyundai operates and which country are doing heavy lifting in terms of performance. The purpose of this project was simple: use Python to make sense of Hyundai's global spread and revenue patterns. In short, I wanted to understand who's contributing, who's chilling, and how Hyundai strategically expands across the map. Speaking about the company, Hyundai is one of the world's leading automakers, established in Seoul, South Korea, and its global success relies heavily on how well its subsidiary operates across different regions. These units help Hyundai enter new markets, strengthen manufacturing, and stay competitive in a fast changing automotive industry. With a mixture of production plants, sales offices, and innovation centers, Hyundai maintains a strong international footprint. Each subsidiary in this company plays a specific role, contributing to overall growth strategy of the company. Understanding this network will help us know how Hyundai manages its worldwide operations. The dataset included information on subsidiary names, location, ownership levels, and operating revenue. This gave a complete picture of Hyundai's global presence in numbers. After organizing and cleaning the data, clear patterns began to emerge about where Hyundai is most active. These insights were then used to plan visual dashboards showing distribution and performance. Overall, the dataset helped translate Hyundai's global network into structure and easy to analyze format. In order to get the presentation ready, I removed duplicates, fixed inconsistent country names, and handled missing value. Some country had absolutely no revenue data, so I politely asked them to sit out of the revenue charts. To move ahead with my analyzing, I used Python along with pandas, numpy, and matplotlib to group, calculate, and visualize the data. The idea was to keep everything structured, accurate, and at least slightly pleasing. This is the Python code which I used to generate the visualization you will be seeing in dashboard 1. So let's just move on and break down the insights in more detail. Here we are looking at the dashboard 1, which gives a global snapshot of Hyundai's subsidiary distribution. As you can see, South Korea is absolutely leading the race. Not just leading, but sprinting ahead of everyone else. This makes sense because it's Hyundai's home turf. Right after Korea, we have the US and followed by the European and Asian countries like India, China, and Germany. This region reflects Hyundai's major manufacturing, sales, and research and development hubs. Speaking of the ownership chart also brings an interesting twist. There's a large chunk of subsidiaries with unknown ownership levels. Now, this could mean two things. Either Hyundai has several joint ventures and shared investment structures, or the parent company simply hasn't updated its public documents in a while. Either way, it tells us that Hyundai's global presence is diverse, layered, and not always straightforward. Overall, this dashboard shows Hyundai's reach is wide but highly concentrated. A few countries do the heavy lifting while the rest support smaller but is anyway are important in their own ways. In the dashboard 2, I use this Python code to create the visualization. Now let's get closer look at what the dashboard reveals. Moving on to the dashboard 2, we are now shifting from presence to performance. Which countries actually make money for Hyundai? And just like the previous slide, South Korea continues to dominate the chart. Right after South Korea, we see China, India, Germany, and US contributing significantly. Now, things get a bit interesting. When we look at the bottom revenue countries, many of them report zero operating revenue. At first glance, that might look a bit worrying, but in reality, it usually means that these subsidiaries serve a different purpose. They might be holding entities, some other offices like some small subsidiaries or legal units, or newly established branches that haven't started generating revenue yet. So it's less of a red flag and more like work in progress. What's really important here is a sharp contrast. Hyundai relies heavily on a handful of powerful markets to support its global operation. This insight becomes crucial for understanding Hyundai's risk exposure, future market potential, and where strategic attention might be needed. So the overall picture is clear. A handful of countries are driving Hyundai's global engine, while others act more as supportive outposts. That's common. I believe that's common in the automotive industry, but it also shows room for strategic improvements. So, what this means for Hyundai is these patterns indicate Hyundai's strong dependence on just a few markets, like particularly South Korea, the United States, China, and India, which I believe is both strength and a weakness. On one hand, focusing on high performing regions helps keep operations efficient, stable, and predictable. But on the other hand, relying on heavily on a new major market leaves Hyundai vulnerable to certain policy changes or maybe economic shifts or supply chain disruption in those regions. Meanwhile, many smaller countries show little or maybe no activity, which suggests Hyundai may not be fully leveraging its global presence. Some subsidiaries appear to be operating quietly in the background, generating less revenue or no revenue, which could mean they are administrating administrative units, new branches, or simply underutilized opportunity waiting for attention. These patterns highlight. And hence the global performance of Hyundai. I feel it should take some several actions. First, the company could invest more confidently in emerging markets such as Southeast Asia or Africa, similar to how its strategic expansion in India turned to be its one of the biggest success stories. What Hyundai can do is also deepen partnership with local firms, which would help them understand regional consumer preferences better. This approach could be especially useful for growing electric vehicle demands. To justify this, I can give you example like by teaming up with energy companies to expand EV charging networks. Another important step, I believe, is to address underperforming subsidiaries. If certain location consistently shows zero revenues, Hyundai can restructure them, like convert them into service hubs or merge them with nearby branches to improve efficiencies. Uh, the company should also improve transparency, like in reporting ownership levels, because a large number of unknown entries make decision making more complicated than usual. To conclude this, I would say that Hyundai's global structure shows impressive strength but also reveals areas where the company can grow more further. This analysis provided a clear picture of where Hyundai excels and where strategic improvement could help drive the greater global success. Besides this, I would like to give one more suggestion that how Hyundai can optimize its working. It can use supply chain and expand after sale services, like especially in smaller countries where customer support can significantly boost brand trust. Overall, this action would help Hyundai reduce risk and diversify its more income like sources and strengthen its global footprint. All these, all while staying competitive in an industry that never sleeps. Here are the key references and tools I used throughout this project. The data come from Hyundai's official resources and academic datasets. I relied on Python, Pandas, NumPy, and Matplotlib for all the cleaning and visualization work. Canva and PowerPoint helped me refine the presentation layout. And yes, AI only helped me polish my language, not to do my homework for me. So everything you see here is fully my work and just grammatically improved. And thank you so much for your time and attention. I would like to end this presentation with a good quote like every insight brings us closer to smarter decision. And if you have any questions, I would happy to answer them as long as they are easier than my Python errors. Thank you.